Alright, so move on to the next segment. I'll be sharing my fight prediction for the fight that will take place on the UFC 311 card between Jiri Prochazka and Jamahal Hill. So this will be a big time light heavyweight collision course that we'll be seeing between two knockout artists on the UFC 311 card. So let's get into the storylines heading in this fight. Is each fighter ready to bounce back from their devastating knockout losses against Alex Pereira in the calendar year 2024? Now, this really feels like a true loser's bracket fight between Jiri Prochazka and Jamahal Hill. Both have been on the receiving ends of cold, brutal knockouts by Alex Pereira, fighting for the light heavyweight title in the calendar year 2024. So we're going to see which fighter is going to bounce back from that devastating knockout loss. Will it be Jiri Prochazka or Jamahal Hill? Now, that is actually the last time that we've seen these respective fighters, when they were knocked out cold in the octagon fighting Alex Pereira. So we're going to see which one can bounce back. And final game plan is, which fighter is going to get back into the win column and climb back into contention at the light heavyweight division. Now, not taking anything, all jokes aside from the knockout losses that Jiri Prochazka and Jamahal Hill have suffered from Alex Pereira, both of these respective fighters are former light heavyweight champions. Jiri Prochazka held the title at one point, and Jamahal Hill held the title at one point. But both have something in common. Both were stripped of the titles and forced to vacate the titles due to injuries. After each of these respective fighters won the titles, they were forced to vacate the titles due to injury. So they never got to defend the titles after they won it, which left the light heavyweight division cursed for a while until Alex Pereira picked up the broken pieces of this division and won the light heavyweight title at the end of 2023. So there's a lot riding on the line for these respective fighters, because I feel like a loss for either one of these guys, they got to consider moving up to heavyweight, to the heavyweight division after this performance for the loser of this fight. Because if you lose this fight, not only are you going down in the rankings, but I just don't see how you can bounce back in this division with the guy Alex Pereira, your guys' kryptonite, holding that title. So something to keep in mind for whoever loses this fight. I think the loser is just going to have to move up to heavyweight. Now let's get into the tail of the tape here. Jiri Prochazka has 30 victories, 5 losses, and 1 draw to his resume. He has 26 victories coming away of knockout, 3 submission victories. Currently the second-ranked contender at lightweight, stands at 6'3" and has a reach of 80 inches. Then I'm looking at Jamahal Hill. Jamahal Hill has 12 victories, 2 losses to his resume. He has 7 victories coming away of knockout. Currently the third-ranked contender at the lightweight division, stands at 6'4" and has a reach of 79 inches. So the height advantage goes to Jamahal Hill, but the reach goes in favor of Jiri Prochazka. We're going to see if that height and reach plays a factor or a pivotal role in this fight between two significant strikers. So these are the following game plans that I have for these respective fighters to follow. Starting off with Jiri Prochazka. I think it's going to be important for Jiri Prochazka to win the counter-punching battle between himself and Jamahal Hill. Now, Alex Pereira, I think Jiri Prochazka is going to have to look at that, or I hope him and his team have studied that tape of Alex Pereira versus Jamahal Hill at UFC 300, because all it took was Alex Pereira to catch Jamahal Hill flush on the jaw to drop him to set up for the knockout victory. How did that happen? With a counter punch that Alex Pereira rocked Jamahal Hill with. So I think it's important for Jiri Prochazka to do that. And if he could do that, winning the counter punching battle, exchanging the big blow on time to Jamahal Hill, who, in my opinion, has a suspect chin after that, he could possibly win this fight. I think that's going to be very important for him. Now, next, Jiri Prochazka is going to have to do something that he's not very familiar with doing, and that's taking the fight to the wrestling department. Now, he's going to have to land some takedowns, because you can't go in there and just want to go blow for blow, tack for tack in the striker department with a striker like Jamahal Hill. You're going to have to bring something different to the table. So I think it could be possible that we see Jiri Prochazka shoot for some takedowns, possibly get Jamahal Hill, a guy that is not known for being a wrestler, uncomfortable on the ground You gain ground control, and then if you have him on the mount, you can land some elbow strikes, some strikes to rough up Jamahal Hill and possibly set up for the finish. I think he's going to have to do this because standing blow for blow, tack for tack, keeping the fight standing for all 3 rounds, it just doesn't sound like a recipe for success to me for Jiri Prochazka. So I would do that. And last but not least, for Jiri Prochazka's sake, I think he's going to have to land some leg strikes. Now, I think that would be pivotal for him to slow down Jamahal Hill with some leg strikes. Jiri Prochazka is a pretty good leg kicker. He can land some kicks to the body, to the torso that can really slow you down. He can land some calf kicks that really slow you down and move awkwardly in the octagon. So I think if Jiri Prochazka could do that, they can slow the pace that Jamahal Hill wants to fight at. If he wants to fight at a fast tempo pace, and that could possibly lead to Jiri Prochazka being the hunter instead of the hunted, walking down Jamahal Hill in that octagon. Now, for Jamahal Hill, I think Jamahal Hill's going to have to win the striking battle. Like I just said, for Jiri Prochazka's sake, I said in the counter punching, but I think overall, I think it's best for Jamahal Hill to win the striking battle because I think Jamahal Hill is obviously the better striker, and I think he just has the better boxing background between himself and Jiri Prochazka. So that, with him having the better boxing background, I think Jamahal Hill just has overall faster hands than Jiri Prochazka, and that can lead to Jamahal Hill winning the counterpunching battle. So I think he's going to be faster than Jiri Prochazka. I think he is faster than Jiri Prochazka. It just depends on what type of shape that Jamahal Hill is going to come into this fight in. But I think he's going to be coming in faster than Jiri Prochazka. That could lead to him winning the counterpunching battle. And I know that Jamahal Hill likes to fight in a southpaw stance in the octagon. So that could really lead to him, if he wins the counter-striking battle, wins the striking battle, that could go to a big way. But last but not least, this man Jamahal Hill has to be alert defensively. You cannot talk about your loss, the way how you lost to Alex Pereira compared to how Jiri Prochazka lost to Alex Pereira last year. Bottom line, both of y'all lost. Whether you got caught slipping or not, I don't want to hear no excuses. You got to be alert defensively. You have to be on your A game. You have to be alert, because if you get caught, who's to say you're not going down and going to sleep once again the way that you did in the main event of UFC 300? Because if another man catches you lacking, it's because you made a mistake. It's because you made a defensive mistake. So he has to be alert defensively. But with that being said, I'm going to go with Jamahal Hill to defeat Jiri Prochazka at UFC 311 by knockout. Now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, even though this fight is only 3 rounds between Jiri Prochazka and Jamahal Hill, somebody is getting knocked out. You have 2 knockout artists that are former light heavyweight champions. Somebody's going to be going out there to make a statement. Somebody's getting knocked out in that octagon on this undercard fight. But I just trust Jamahal Hill to win this fight more than I do Jiri Prochazka. I just trust that Jamahal Hill is going to win the striking battle between himself and Jiri Prochazka. I think he has a better boxing background than Jiri Prochazka. I think Jamahal Hill is also going to win the counter-punching battle, which will lead to him landing a picture-perfect shot to Jiri Prochazka, dropping him in the middle of the octagon, sending him flush to the canvas, with Jamahal Hill getting on top of him, landing some strikes to win by knockout. And if he wins, just please don't go out there running your mouth to Alex Pereira. Just for the sake of it. Just be humble and take the victory. But give me Jamahal Hill to win this fight against Jiri Prochazka at UFC 311. But that is my UFC 311 fight prediction between Jamahal Hill and Jiri Prochazka.